So I want to talk about a spell in the lore of the Hag called Vengeance of Spirits, or more specifically the Overcast version of it called Omen of Spirits. The lore of the Hag is interesting in that the base versions of the spells are harmful to your enemies, while the upgraded versions are beneficial to you. In the case of Vengeance of Spirits, it costs 12 winds of magic, has a 200 meter range, and deals damage to everyone in a static area of effect, while silencing them. And the tooltip says that it's good against units with 25 models in it or more, but it's actually pretty good against characters. The Overcast version, Omen of Spirits, costs 8 winds of magic and does several things. It's also a stationary area of effect, and your allies inside are going to be taking damage while each providing a plus 60% to your winds of magic recharge. Also, everyone inside gets a boost to spell mastery. So what does this mean? How does this work? Well, we can do a whole bunch of damage to our units to get a lot of winds of magic and cast some empowered spells, or one really big spell. Well, the winds of magic recharge is not as much as you'd think. We'll take a look at that in a little bit, but first I want to show you some of the units I think you should bring to make the most out of using Omen of Spirits. First, we of course have Astankia, and then you're going to want to bring Patriarch. I'm going to put all these characters on horses to keep them mobile with the whole crew. You're going to want to bring a Frost Maiden, of either lore, but I prefer Ice in this case, and then a unit of Dervishes. So this is the core I've been working with, and I'm going to show you why. I think Astankia should have Arcane Conduit. If you're going to be using a spell that costs extra winds of magic to empower other spells, you're going to need all the winds of magic you can get. So again, when you cast Omen of Spirits on any ally, you'll get plus 60 winds of magic recharge. If you have Arcane Conduit on Astankia, you'll get 1 wind of magic per 4 seconds. Without Conduit, it's 1 per 6 seconds. So how many units have to be within the area of effect of Omen of Spirits to get the maximum recharge rate of 1 power per 1 second? Well, the answer is 4, if you have the spellcaster in there. The reason being, the spell gives spell mastery, so when the spellcaster's inside, it's buffing itself from 40% spell mastery up to 67%, so every aspect of the spell is 67% more powerful, including the recharge rate, and unfortunately the damage our units take. But without the spellcaster in there, it's going to take 5 or 6 units to get that maximum recharge rate. Can't quite remember, but the minimum I found is 4 units. That's why I have the Dervishes here, because they're cheap, and I just needed 1 more unit. And we can pretty much heal back all this damage we took. You'll have to give Astankia the Fate of the Interlopers, which is the Hag passive that gives spell resistance to everyone when you cast, along with her Guyash, and the Patriarch's healing AoE, Salyak's Lullaby. So we took less damage to begin with from the passive. Now we'll use the Guyash from Astankia and the Lullaby from the Patriarch. And voila, pretty much back to full health. Let's take a look now at how much power we can generate while we are at maximum efficiency. So right now we are generating 1 power per 1 second. That's the best we can be doing. The spell lasts for 19 seconds, so by that logic, when the spell is over, we should be plus 19 winds of magic. That'll put us at 28 winds of magic. So let's see what happens. We'll let the spell go. 16, 15, 14 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13, 14, 15. That seems to be going a little bit slower for some reason than the spell counter. So yeah, by the end of the spell, we've only gained about 10 winds of magic, which is 9 winds of magic short. I'm not sure what's going on here. Maybe someone watching can explain this phenomenon. I haven't done too much testing on winds of magic generation, so maybe there's a hidden mechanic I'm not aware of, but if no one can explain this, I'm probably going to post a video on the bug forums, because I don't know why some seconds take longer than others. Anyway, let's just say this is the way it is, and the most we can gain from this spell is 10 winds of magic. So what are the applications of this? Why would you ever even use it as opposed to the base version of the spell, Vengeance of Spirits, which is really good and much less complicated to use? Well, one thing you can do that I have to point out is, if you're in a team fight, you can actually use the Omen on your allies so that they're the ones taking damage while you recharge your power and cast enhanced spells. I just think it's pretty funny and fitting for lore of the Hag. But mainly, I guess having this spell means that you have options. In this case, we have 2 characters and 2 infantry units spread apart for a total value of 3350. I'm going to use Vengeance of Spirits here because I can cast it at a long range and hit these characters, and I know I'll get some good value. So when the spell's done, 472 value is pretty good. In this scenario though, it's all infantry, no characters around. The value is still the same at 3350, but this time I know that Vengeance is better against characters, so I'm going to instead use Omen to enhance a couple of breath spells. Astankia will use the Witch Brew, and I'm going to have the Frost Maiden use the Ice Maiden's Kiss, but I'm going to wait for these Graveguard to get back up so we can actually hit them. It looks like pretty good damage. I'm just going to throw these heals on and move these units back a tidbit so we can check the value. Astankia 455, Frost Maiden 327 for a total of 782, which is a good chunk more than Vengeance of Spirits. And yes, we spent 20 Winds of Magic versus 12 there, but at the same time, we pretty much got away with it for free. Yes, we spent more Winds of Magic and more health, but looking at us now, you wouldn't be able to tell. We've healed right back up, and our Winds of Magic are pretty much right back to where they were. If we let the battle go on too long, though, certain things can come back to bite us, such as Winds of Magic running out, reaching healing cap, and the Patriarch just running out of heals. For these reasons, I think that Omen of Spirits is best used in armies that want to try to end the battle as quickly as possible, with shock tactics, these empowered spells, and anything else you can come up with to prevent the battle from reaching late stages. So if you're trying to end the battle early, maybe you're not worried so much about healing, and maybe you want to trade out the Patriarch for something else. I would keep the Frost Maiden because you're going to want to use Snowflake Pendant as often as possible to get as much Winds of Magic as you can. But trade out the Patriarch and maybe put in another Hagcaster. Because unfortunately, when you use Omen of Spirits to empower other spells, one of those spells can't be Vengeance, because it's the same spell. You can bring another Hagcaster though, have one of them use Omen, and the other one use an enhanced Vengeance. Maybe you want to even bring the Golden Knight in your army. It would be a shame if you tried to use Omen of Spirits to enhance a big, long wind-up spell like Blizzard, only for your enemy to dodge it. Well, you can use Ursun's Blade from the Golden Knight to freeze a unit in place while you use one of these big spells. So Ursun's Blade is going to be reapplied with every attack, and not being able to move, that Blizzard pretty much one-shots these Stearnsmen. You also have the Wolfhearts, the special Akshina Ambusher unit with a 10-second snare. So again, maybe you see an important infantry unit and you think it's worth it to spend some mana to buff a spell and hit them with it while they're stunned. In this case, the Cursed Cauldron didn't do as much as Blizzard, but it does have double the range at 200 meters, so could be useful. So there are plenty of spell combinations and army compositions for you to experiment with while using Omen of Spirits. And these have been my own observations on the spell. It really piqued my interest because it just has a lot of weird effects, and it just seems very niche compared to a lot of other spells. I just wanted to see its uses and what you could do with it. So I hope some of you out there will experiment with Omen of Spirits, and if you find out anything crazy, please share it. Also, if anyone has any insight on why we were not generating as much Winds of Magic as the spell said we should have, please share that as well. Thanks for watching.